So let me find a couple of quick practice sets for us to work on based on this, and then we'll move to exterior angles. Okay. Okay, so here's one for us to start with. It's going to be of that third type that we just talked about, this one over here on the right. So here you go. Here's a circle. They're giving you the measure of the arc from R to Q. They're telling you this is 70, and they're asking you the arc from S to N. Okay, so think of this, and you can choose. Think of this as M, and this is big M, and this is the 70 is really the X. But they're giving you enough to find that missing angle.
So I would add the two M's, or well.
Yeah, and you don't, it's good to sometimes just write it, but not fill in things until you know them. You know two of the three though in this problem. You know little m and X.
So would I do? So would I divide 75 by 2?
Just substitute them. So 70 equals 75 plus big M divided by 2. Right now this is an equation that like you should have seen before, right? And when I say that, I mean like you've got the prerequisite knowledge to be able to solve this. I'm happy to help. You do undo this division by 2 first, though.
I would do 75 divided by 2.
No, you have to undo division by 2. Like think of what's in the numerators in parentheses. How do you undo division by 2?
I just times it.
Yes.
We haven't really gone over this that much. It's
yes,
like,
but this is classified as like, hey, you should have seen this in your previous courses, but you undo division by 2 by multiplication by 2. So on the right, they just cancel. On the left, it becomes 140 equals 75 plus M. How do we solve for M now?
we would subtract. Would we subtract 75 from both sides?
Exactly. Okay, and you're welcome to use a calculator or whatever you've got today. Let me know if you need that link to the Desmos Scientific calculator.
It should be 65 equals M.
And yes, and degree symbol, very much necessary. Recommend doing that. All right, so here is another problem for you to look at, kind of the same type here. So if you're going to sketch, if you're going to write this down, don't get too caught up in the letters. You know, if I were writing this down on your side, I would write down chord, 65, 85, little m, big M, and X. All right, and then you're going to use the same equation that you used in the last problem.
And then, so in this one, I would divide. Right?
You would add them together first and then divide.
Yeah. Which would give me 117.5.
Okay, here's what I heard. I heard that you did not add them first. You have to add them and then divide.
Wow.
You can't divide and then add because you will only divide one of the numbers.
Oh, 75.
Yes, X is 75 degrees. That degree symbol is pretty important. It's kind of like the difference between telling someone, you're on one side of the street or the other. Really could matter quite a bit. Okay, let's have you try another problem here. All right, let's see if you can find B. I want you to find B, which is really X. See if you can just come up with the final answer on that one, please.
Would it be 120 equals X or 120 degrees?
That's looking pretty good. I was looking for some more problems. Yes. So that's 120 degrees. Now, what if they wanted A? How are A and B related to each other? A is the other angle over here. B is this angle here.
They would it. I mean, it would equal 360 in total, right? So if you knew.
So let me draw it without all the other stuff. Here's A and here's B. What do they rely on? What do they lie on? What is this called here?
The first, the same, is it vertex or is it circumference?
They do have a vertex, but this is a line.
Oh, line.
Do you remember the angle measure of a line?
Angle measure of a line. No.
180 degrees.
Okay. So if I knew A, well, I guess I would just, then it means that B and A are congruent, right?
Not congruent, they add up to 180. Congruent means they're identical, exactly the same.
So if I have already 120 for B, then it means that A is 40 degrees.
A plus 120 equals 180. Yeah, A is going to be 60. All right, so I think you're real close here. Let me throw another problem at you just to see your comfort level with a little bit more advanced algebra. Nothing too wild, but something I think you could see on the test or quiz. So this time they're not giving you the numerical values. They're giving you X, 4X plus 12. Okay, but you can consider it, and it doesn't really matter, but you can consider this big M and all of this little m, and this 68 is X. You're still starting with this equation. M, little m plus big M divided by 2. X is 4X plus 12 plus 76 divided by 2.
So,
but we know the value of X. X is really 68. So when you see X, you got to be careful. I like using X, but think of it as the angle inside here.
The inside angle. All right.
Yeah. Okay.
So
go ahead.
So how would I do this one?
You have to first undo the division by 2. How do you undo that 2 there?
I would times it by 2.
The whole thing times 2, left and right. So on the left, that's 136. On the right, it's 4X plus 12 plus 76. Notice that when you multiply it, it clears out the bottom. Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right. All right. On the right-hand side, you can combine like terms.
So I would combine the 12 and the 76.
Yes.
Which would give me 88. So it would be 136 equals 4X plus 88.
Good.
And I would just subtract 88 from both sides.
Yes. Good.
And then 36 minus 88 is 48. 48 equals 4X. And then I would divide them both by 4. 48 divided by 4 is 12. So 12 equals X.
Good. Now, I didn't give you the instructions. The instructions might say to solve for X. They might say to solve for the arc du.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see that the difference is one is like X is 12. That's fine. But is that the arc?
Oh, that's not. If I wanted to get the arc, I would do 4 times 12 plus 12.
Yes. Yes. We don't know what you're going to be asked. We don't know which way they're going to go on that one.
Yeah.
Okay, so like you said, 4 times 12 plus 12, what does that add up to?
That's up to 60.
Very good. 68 degrees. All right. I think you're doing great. Let's look at one more of these before we switch to the exterior stuff that's going on in the angle stuff. So new problem here. You're going to maybe see some with some variable expressions. You're still using this little m plus big M divided by 2. Usually little m is the one that's smaller, big M is the one that's bigger, but it doesn't really matter because you're adding them together. X represents the interior angle here. So X is really all of this, the 4 plus 28x.
So 28x plus 78. So then I would first times it by 2. Everything by 2, right?
Well, okay, hang on. Before you say that, did you write this?
Yes.
Okay, now while what you said will work, it will absolutely work. The reason we divided by 2 in the previous problem is because the variable was on that side.
Oh.
On the right side now, it's just numbers.
Oh, so I would just add those up and then divide.
Yes, yes. So see if you can carry out the rest of the problem from here, solving for X.
Subtract. Can you add like terms when they're not on the same side or no?
No, they have to be on the same side.
So I would subtract 4 from both sides to bring me to 28x equals 112, and then I would divide that by 28, which 112 divided by 28 gives me 4.
Okay,
X
so
equals 4.
good. Now, just like the last problem, we don't know whether they want you to solve for X or they want you to put that value in. What would the value be when you put X in for 4?
It would be 4 plus 28 times 4.
Okay, and what does that become?
28. It gives you 116.
Is 116. So T is 116 because they're these vertex angles are the same. Let's say I wanted you to give me the angle of B. This one right here. What would that be?
That would be so if trying to remember.
What did we say about two angles on a straight line?
They have the same, so 180. So if I already have
Yes.
116, I would just subtract 116 minus 180.
Yes. Well, the other way, 180 minus 116, but yes.
And then give me 64. So B is 64.
Very good. Very good. Okay, good job on that. Just to kind of recap here real quick. Sorry, you're right there. All the problems we did were of this type on the right here. I didn't give you any of these central angles and inscribed angles, but I hope you can quickly see that inscribed angles, you're just doubling or dividing by 2,
yeah,
and so on, because we were better spent doing these other problems. Okay, so exterior to the circle, there are 3 possibilities. The first one is tangent. Okay, and here's what I mean by that. Here's a circle. Here's a point outside the circle. Tangent means it only touches in one place. Tangent, tangent. So think of this as the major, the minor, and X. And the formula is really, really similar to the last one. It's big M minus little m divided by 2. Order matters now. So big M is always the one that's on the other side, the far side. Little m is the one that's closest, and x is this interior angle.
All right.
The other possibility is what's called a secant. Secant. In a circle, a secant means that it cuts it in two places. So something like that, something like that. And it's still big M, little m, and x. And it's still the same formula. Big M minus little m divided by 2. Any questions on what we've done so far?
Nope.
The other possibility is what's called a secant tangent or tangent secant, but there's kind of two ways this could look, but they're exactly the same in terms of the formula. Tangent secant, or maybe it's secant tangent, but in both cases, you've got a big M, a little m, and an x, big M, a little m, and an x, and it is still big M minus little m over 2.
Gotcha.
So it's one formula for all, but there's a bunch of different scenarios that you might see. The other thing to remember here, and I'm giving you a lot of like preamble build up to like what it actually is if you go all the way around a circle, you mentioned this earlier, if you go all the way around the circle, that's 360 degrees. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So where that comes up is, let's say I give you a problem like this, and I tell you that this is 110 degrees. What's big M?
110 degrees.
Nope.
Or-
This is little m. Little
Oh,
m's
I
100.
would subtract 360 or
Yes,
360 minus 110, which would give me 250.
right. So there are problems where you're only given one thing and you got to find the rest because of that. We'll start with some easier ones, but that's the starting point for this today. Okay, let me find a few problems here to work on. I thought I had one up, but it didn't work out very nicely. Oh, come on. All right, here we go. All right. Here's your first problem to look at. Think about, they want you to find the value of x, please.
I have would be 155. Or would be x equals 155 minus 63 divided by 2.
Okay.
Two. It would give me x equals 46.
Okay. Not too bad. Let's look at another one here. We're warming up to the more difficult ones. We are going to end it around at 350, so we'll do a few more here. It does go by pretty quick for the hour lessons, but let's keep going here. Notice they're not giving you big M in this problem.
So big M would be 256 because you just 360 minus 104, right?
That would be if it's going all the way around, but you don't know this little cut here.
Oh,
So you have to use that formula for it.
okay, so we do 38 equals big M minus 104. Because I don't know what the other thing is I would times them by 2, correct?
Yes, very good.
So times by 2, times by 2, cancel those out. 38 times 2 is 76. So 76 equals M would just be minus 104. And then I would subtract 70, or I would subtract 76, right, from both sides?
You look at the side with the variable.
The variable.
So the side with the variable has an M in it.
Mhm.
and it minus 104. So you want to undo the minus 104. How do you undo that?
Oh, I would add 104.
Yes. So M equals 180.
Gotcha. All
All
right.
right. So we are unfortunately basically out of time for today. If just like I told your brother, if you can send over anything ahead of time, that would be best.